Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to viewers from all walks of life. This is Desmos, and you're all welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking empaths free. If it's your first time here, of course, on this channel I talk about narcissism, I talk about spirituality, I talk about personal and self-development. And in case of that resonates with you, I invite you to join us, guys. Give us a like, share this video with your friends, subscribe. And for those who've always been with us, you are welcome back, and I thank you for your love and support. I saw a question 2 days ago from a subscriber, and the idea was they were asking me, Denzo, is it okay if I actually warn one of the people that I know? Should I warn them because I suspect that they are dealing with a narcissist? So eventually, this is a narcissist video. In my own opinion and my own understanding, and also in my own personal experience, what I've noticed in my journey is that, guys, I can apologize because I'm next to the road, so there is a lot of cars moving by. I hope that noise doesn't disrupt the video. But anyhow, my own personal journey, guys, what I've realized is that I've made it a point to make you understand that, guys, you are the only one who has awakened. If you're the only person who can get what is narcissistic abuse, you have discovered what is narcissistic abuse, you have awakened from narcissistic abuse. You are the only individual who has awakened. The people around you, it does not matter who they are still asleep. The very moment I awakened, I thought it was my responsibility to go around telling people, warning them, you know, like I tried to shake up a lot of people, because at the end of the day, I would now look behind the veil. So I would see what was going on behind the scenes. And in my own personal journey, I tried to go around warning some people that I knew, even sometimes family members and close friends. I would try to tell them, hey, you guys, you know what, I've discovered narcissism and everything. That person, you know, the person you're dealing with or something like that, there is a possibility they're the narcissist, and you could not even know that. So I try to go around shaking people. Most of the cases when you awaken from these guys, I can guarantee you, because it takes you by surprise, now you might even want to think that other people can get you. But guys, I can tell you this from personal experience, that the very moment you experience that shift, I've usually talked about the paradigm shift, because when you awaken, you go through a paradigm shift. The people around you, they are still asleep. And I can guarantee you that most of those individuals, if you do a mistake, like in that question, that guy who came back, that individual who came back to me, if you do a mistake and go around shaking them up, you are actually going to become the problem. Because those individuals, remember, they are still in the trauma bond. The same trauma bond that you have been before, they are also in that trauma bond. Now, psychology and science wants to refer to it as a trauma bond, but normally I refer to this thing as a love spell. So most of the individuals, the victims of narcissistic abuse, they are actually in a very deep love spell, and they cannot wake up from that spell. The very first thing the narcissist will do, most of the individuals, because they know who they are, so when they come into your life, the very first thing they will do, they will love bomb you. They will create a very trauma bond, which I've talked about as a very sweet and sour relationship at the same time. So that thing creates some kind of a trauma bond in you, and that process puts you to sleep. So the narcissist is doing this deliberately. They do not want you to know who they are, because they know at a particular point in time, that mask is going to slip all the way down. But before the mask slips, they have got to make sure that they've already put you to sleep. So they will cast specific spells on you, and they will shut you down and put you to sleep. And most of the cases, I can guarantee you guys, I ran around after my awakening. I was warning people. I was telling them, hey, the person you're dealing with is a narcissist. That person is a narcissist. I was now able to see who is a narcissist and who is not. But the guys you're talking to, guys, I can guarantee you, you're going to become the problem. They are going to actually even create a lot of drama, including the narcissists themselves, because those people you are telling now, everything you're telling them, it is going to now go back to the narcissist. Because the narcissist, when they put you in a spell, they make sure that everything you know, everything you find out, everything you see outside of that entanglement, you have got to come back and report to them. So you become a narcissist agent. I did a video before about how a person becomes a narcissist agent. When you're involved with the narcissist, you automatically become later on the narcissist agent. So you become a part of them. And most of the cases, the things going on around you, the things you see, the things you talk about, the people you see, the people you meet, most of the cases you end up going back to the narcissist and actually reporting most of these incidents. So those individuals that you want to tell, the individuals you want to warn, you have got to know they are going to go back and actually report this whole thing to the narcissist. Now the narcissist is going to turn against you, even including those individuals, because remember, they have not yet awakened like you. So it is a very dangerous move. These individuals, these narcissists, that's the best they can do. Guys, I can guarantee you, it took me 7 years. I could wake up each and every single day. I was thinking and I was hoping that the next day was my freedom. It took me 7 years to wake up from abuse. Awakening from narcissistic abuse, it does not even matter only narcissistic abuse or even whichever situation you've been, whichever other circumstances you've been. Awakening from this kind of situations, an awakening, a spiritual awakening, is a divine intervention. Those individuals, including us who have gotten out of those experiences, we have been in those relationships to learn our lessons. Somehow, and I mentioned this before, and somebody got to me, they were a bit my perspective made them feel some kind of a way, but I can guarantee you guys, most of the cases, we empaths, we have been put with the narcissist. The divine has created this kind of God will allow us to go through the narcissistic experience and abuse, because God is particularly putting us through the tests. We are going through tests, and we are supposed to learn the lessons. At the end of the lessons, when you have gone through all this trauma, there's a reason why they call it a trauma bond, because you are going through a lot of trauma on each and every single day. So what happens is that when you go through the trauma, and at the end of the day, God will choose whichever God you believe in. God will know that, okay, so you have now seen everything, you have understood everything, you have experienced everything, and now it's time for you to wake up. That is when your moment is going to now come. So at that moment, the divine will intervene and actually awaken you. So most of the cases you see us doing these videos online, we are putting out the information out there. We're just creating awareness, okay? So we are creating awareness, but at the end of the day, the actual awakening, the spiritual awakening, is a divine intervention. I've already mentioned it in my videos, and I will say it again and again, guys. Awakening, any form of awakening, is a divine intervention. And a person awakens after going through a very difficult period. I've mentioned sometime before, a person can awaken even sometimes from a near-death experience. Somebody could get an accident, or somebody could face difficult medical circumstances, that incident will actually awaken them. Some people have even awakened after coma, going through a long period of a coma. So this is a divine intervention, it's a divine process. There is nothing you can do. We do not have the power. I do not have the power. There's no coach online has got the power. The only thing we do is create awareness, and most of the times, the information we're putting out there is helping the people who have actually even stepped out of narcissistic abuse, or even sometimes started to awaken themselves. So we create out the information, we send out the information, we give out the information to let them know that they are not alone. It is not only about them. We have also been there. So most of the cases, we're getting out this information to create more awareness. Number one, for the people who have not yet been in those kind of toxic relationships, and number two, for the people even sometimes who are actually waking up, or who even sometimes who have awakened. But we do not hold the power to give, or even sometimes to trigger an awakening to anybody. An awakening will happen organically. It may happen spontaneously, it may happen brutally. But most of the cases I've mentioned, when it comes to narcissistic abuse, awakening usually will happen brutally, because you're going to experience a very huge storm at the end of that relationship. There will be a very huge storm. At the end of the storm, you have got to know these are the signs that now the divine is intervening. Normally, when you start experiencing the storm, in my previous video, I made a video about the storm. When you start experiencing the storm, you have got to know your time has come to awaken. It's going to be very, very brutal. In most of the cases, it's going to be very, very painful, very brutal, and very, very confusing and depressing at the same time. So when you start going through the storm, you're supposed to know there are signs after that storm. Those are the signs of actually a pre-awakening. I call it a pre-awakening because now you're starting to get prepared. The divine is preparing you for the awakening, the actual awakening, which will usually happen a few days. It could happen a few days, or it could even it cannot take up to a month. That kind of period, the turmoil you will experience usually takes about a couple of weeks to a month. But at the end of that, guys, you are going to awaken. The only reason why you go through the turmoil is because the narcissist is struggling to put you to sleep, and at the same time, the divine is trying to get you to wake up. So it is a divine intervention. It is God's intervention. Nobody has the chance. Nobody has got the power to awaken anybody. Everybody wakes up at their own time. You can love those people from a distance. You may even sometimes try to sit with them. Just tell them a few things, a little bit. You may try to touch the subject a little bit, but I would not advise you to go directly into their face and tell them that actually the people they're involved with, those individuals, they're narcissists, because it is going to turn out very, very badly with you. And guys, you don't want to be in that position whereby you are the only person between the victim and the narcissist. You're going to be caught up in that kind of a mix, and it is usually not going to end well with you. So you're supposed to watch these people from a distance, tell them a little bit of what they need to know. Do not be very direct to them that they're dealing with a narcissist, because they do not even know what you're talking about. A person who is very deep in the trauma bond, I know so many people online, they will sit down on these channels, online platforms, they will watch one coach to another coach to another coach. Guys, I can guarantee you, even sometimes I've talked with people myself. I've been helping people every now and then, of course, helping them to deal with these kind of toxic situations and everything. But usually, I've been very careful. I've been very, very careful when I'm trading that kind of the subject of the narcissist. I've been trying to be very careful, because most of the people, I can see where somebody is coming from. When I know a person is very, very deep into trauma bond, normally I will take my time. For that, my friend who sent that special question on this video, I can guarantee you, it's out of your hands. Narcissistic abuse, those individuals, if they have not yet awakened from narcissistic abuse, they have not yet fully experienced the lessons. There's a lesson to be learned in that partnership or friendship, whatever. There is a lesson to be learned. And awakening happens at the end of the lesson. When you have learned the lesson, this is like going to school. You go through the tests and everything, you learn, then you do the test. Now, at the end of the exam, you will know how you passed or how you failed the exam. So normally, this thing is like an exam. At the end of the exam, that is exactly when the awakening happens, because the divine is preparing you to awaken. Now you can be able to get out of that thing, awaken, get out of it, and be able to now share your experience. And even sometimes you'll be able to help other individuals who have been like you, or even sometimes who have not yet gotten into those kind of situations. You'll be able now to spread the word, because this kind of information, like I said, you don't find it online, you don't find it in churches, you don't find it in your families, you don't find it in your schools. Very, very few information is out there about narcissism, and that is the reason why most of the victims around the world, they become victims. They are caught up in this mix because they do not know anything about narcissism. Narcissism, I'll repeat it again and again, narcissism is a spiritual warfare going on. This is a spiritual warfare. There's nothing about, forget about these NPD terms and everything, disorders and mental disorders. Narcissism is a spiritual warfare. And guys, you should look out for my video. I'm going to make a video very soon about the rabbit hole. So I'm going to let you guys know exactly what happens when you start going down the rabbit hole. Because most of the times, the guys who have awakened, the chosen ones, like I've said, most of the awakened empaths, after awakening, you start going down the rabbit hole. So I'm going to make a video. Guys, look out for it. Most likely it's going to be a live video, because I want to do this a live video. So we are going to discuss exactly the rabbit hole, what the rabbit hole looks like, and exactly what is behind the scenes and what is behind the veil. What is those things that they have always hidden from you? Because like I said, when you awaken, you are able to tap into your spiritual nature and tap into your spiritual self, your higher self, and you're able now to see everything behind the veil. And that is exactly when you start going down the rabbit hole. Now, I'll make a video and I'll share a video about most of these things that happen behind the rabbit hole, in the rabbit hole and behind the veil. If there's something I've not mentioned in this video, guys, I will just repeat it for one more time. You do not have the power to awaken your friends. You don't have the power to awaken your sisters, your brothers, your fathers, your mothers. You will tell them something, even sometimes you're awakening narcissists themselves. Most of these cases, you can find that the person even you want to awaken, the people you're trying to awaken, guys, it has happened to me. That's why I'm telling you this. It has happened to me so many times. You could now start to try to awaken the people, tell them about narcissism, and now you're actually talking to the real narcissists themselves. Most of those cases, those are the individuals, even sometimes they are the narcissists, and they're the ones who are even abusing the other individuals. So you should tread carefully with this. You need to step out of it and watch it from a distance. Support them. The only thing you can do with those individuals, support them. If they've been thrown out of the house, bring them back in, give them a place to stay, give them food if it's necessary, take them from point A to point B. Just be there to support them. But when you're trying to wake up somebody, guys, I will guarantee you it will never end well with you. It is going to put you in very, very deep troubles, especially even sometimes you're going to create more problems for that individual themselves, because they don't know what you're talking about. So they may retaliate in some kind of a way with those individuals, and normally it's also not going to end well with them, including you as well. So step out of it. Be of support them if you can. If you can't, there's nothing you can do, but you can always try to support them, especially if they're your close family or the people you have always known. You can always try to support them. Just sit down with them and talk, talk something about. They might want to confront you. They might want to tell you one or two things about the toxic things they're going through. Just be there and listen to them and support them. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, guys, like I've said, it's out of your hands. When God is ready, when the divine is ready, when God knows that you have now gone through these lessons, you have learned the lessons, you have gone through the experience, you've reached the end, or I can say something what I call the storm. Now you've reached the part of the storm. That is exactly when you know it is your time to wake up. It is going to happen eventually. And that, my friend, as well, I hope your friend as well, it will happen to them as well. Other than that, guys, it's been lovely to have you guys on board. Much love and blessings. Desmos signing out. If there's something I've not mentioned, like as always, let it be known in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. Bless. Desmos signing out.